Today is a great day to break down the top 5 late round fantasy football quarterbacks that you, a scholar, should be targeting in your 2026 drafts. Number 5, Saints quarterback Tyler Shough, who, guys, already put in a pretty good performance for himself in 2025. Upon taking over for Spencer Rattler in week 9, he messed around and posted QB 12 numbers on a per game basis the rest of the way. Look, this is a big, strong arm talent, also capable of putting touch on the football, and he can run pretty well. Longest rushing touchdown by an NFC South quarterback since Cam Newton last year. Also saw that facet of his game show up in his ability to do some really good things off script. All that to say, film was nice. Some of the advanced numbers, not so nice. Below average to average and more things than not, like EPA per dropback, completion percentage over expected, more nerdy stats like that. And we also have to consider the Drake May-esque schedule. 2 games against the Panthers, 2 games against the Falcons. Also had the Dolphins, Buccaneers, Jets, and Titans thrown in there during the second half of the season. Adding Jordan Tyson to the offense is nice. It is legal for quarterbacks to get better in their year 2 in the system and everything, but Vegas early preseason implied scoring ranks have the Saints coming in at just 23rd. So I like Tyler Shough. I don't quite love him though as this year's late round quarterback. My number 4 late round quarterback to target in 2026 fantasy football drafts, staying in the NFC South with Baker Mayfield, who, lest we forget guys, led the NFL in passing touchdowns during the 2023 and 2024 seasons and was getting MVP chance, unironic MVP chance at home. Maybe some were for Tez Johnson through the first 6 weeks of last season. So what went wrong? One injury after another. I want to keep this video short, so I'm not going to list all of them, but believe me, guys, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, everything was going wrong for Baker down the stretch of last season. So if we do want to give him a pass for the 2025 year, we can go back to 2024 and see this dude averaging north of 21 fantasy points per game, good for QB4 status on the season. So Vegas is reasonably excited about this group, even with the departure of Mike Evans. Buccaneers are projecting to be the 15th best scoring offense ahead of this season. So bringing in Zach Robinson is nice due to his history with Sean McVay. Wouldn't quite put it on the same level as someone like Mike McDaniel, but there is reason for optimism with Baker Mayfield at a very affordable QB2 price tag in Fantasyland. So Baker comes in as my number 4 ranked late round quarterback ahead of 2026 drafts. My number 3 favorite late round quarterback ahead of 2026, new Dolphins starting quarterback Malik Willis, which might sound kind of crazy because he only has 6 career starts and 155 pass attempts to his name at the professional level, but you know, these last 2 years in Green Bay kind of worked as the most efficient passing quarterback in the league. I know, small sample, but EPA per dropback, CPOE, literally better than anyone. So yes, I'm not expecting that to exactly persist with the Dolphins' dog water group of wide receivers and tight ends, but it's at least reason to believe we could be looking at an above average passer of the football. But let's face it, guys, the real reason we're here talking about Malik is that sweet rushing upside. Fully expecting him to be clearing that triple-digit rushing mark, and man, has he made the most of those opportunities. Reported sub 4.4 speed coming out of Liberty, top 4 quarterback in terms of yards per scramble over the past 2 years, and the QB1 in yards per rush on read options. So if we are getting that rushing volume, we just don't really see this archetype bust. Over the past decade, 28 quarterbacks have had at least 100 rush attempts in a season. 26 of them, a 93% hit rate, posted top 12 numbers on a per game basis. So not saying Malik Willis is going to rip off a top 5 season or anything like that, but I do think he could do his best 2022 Justin Fields impression. Not too bad for someone virtually free at the end of drafts. My second favorite late round fantasy football quarterback ahead of 2026, Kyler Murray, the new Vikings, probable QB1, still technically in a competition with JJ McCarthy, but let's face it, in terms of what we've seen at the NFL level, should be Kyler Murray's job to lose. And if that's the case, guys, we simply haven't seen Kyler work as a bad fantasy quarterback for pretty much the majority of his career. I get it, 2025 was not pretty as a passer. There's a reason why we had that soft benching, whatever you want to call it, with Jacoby taking over. But even with a 5-game limited 2025 season, guys, Kyler Murray has the same number of top 5 weekly fantasy finishes as guys like Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Herbert over the course of the past 2 seasons. That's what that sweet rushing upside can do for a man in fantasy land. So not guaranteeing Kyler's going to get back to partying like 2021, but you throw in KOC, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, a much improved offensive environment, and I do think there's reason to be buying Kyler Murray at his very affordable late round cost. Do need to be careful with the JJ McCarthy and the potential short leash factor going on, but that is the reason why one of my favorite late round quarterback strategies is the Boomer Sooner method. Let's reunite Kyler Murray with Baker Mayfield in the final rounds of our fantasy football drafts and see what happens. And now for the grand finale, my favorite late round fantasy football quarterback ahead of 2026, Lions QB Jared Goff, and honestly guys, I was kind of surprised he qualified for this study in the first place, but sure enough, outside the top 120 overall picks on Sleeper and outside the top 150 on ESPN, that's a 5.5 round discount over fellow pocket passers like Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford. And sure, these guys don't run, but that hasn't stopped Goff from offering a lot of fantasy football upside. He has 8 separate top 5 weekly fantasy finishes over these past 2 seasons. That's more than any quarterback not named Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, or Jalen Hurts. So, hey, in a world where we are seeing quarterbacks struggle to even throw for 4,000 yards these days, Goff has cleared 4,500 yards in 3 straight seasons. The rest of the NFL has just 6 such seasons combined during that same span. So, the one potential red-ish flag here would be the insertion of Drew Petzing at OC, but I do try to lean on some, more real-life ball knowers out there when we do have coaching changes like this, and ESPN's Ben Solak, as well as Yahoo's Nate Tice, very, very encouraged and optimistic about the pairing, as is Vegas, who has the Lions as their #1 ranked offense in their preseason scoring ranks. So again, feeling great about the Lions offense, feeling great about Jared Goff, keeping on, and we can do so at a very, very cheap price in Fantasyland. So make sure you keep an eye out later in the season because we got an unfortunate Week 17 championship weekend matchup in Chicago, and I know we don't want to play Goff outdoors in that game, but you know what? We got to make it to the championship first, and I do believe using a late round pick on Jared Goff this year will help you do just that. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed someone, if you disagree with some of the ranks, or maybe, God forbid, you have something nice to say as well. All comments are welcome. And if you like the video, please like the video. Hitting that subscribe button always helps as well. But in the meantime, best of luck in all your fantasy drafts, and just go out there and have a great day.